My name is Elisabeth Day, and my husband is Jason. We have 6 children.
We are living in an RV, traveling full-time. That's our life right now, and it's pretty awesome.
Before we decided to live in an RV with our children, we lived a typical suburban life, big house, and it honestly was working to pay for the stuff that we had. A couple of years ago, my daughter wanted to do a girls' night with her best friend. I was having a conversation with this friend's mom, and they were going and living on their sister's property in an RV. And I said, I wish I could do that. And she's like, well, why can't you? And so I started listing off the reasons, but then realized, okay, we probably could. Let's figure out a way to do this. All that night, I stayed up the entire evening researching how much it would cost to get an RV. The first thing we had to do was purge our 6-bedroom, 4-bath house. My husband was working to establish a nest egg for our adventures. It was extremely stressful because I had 4 kids running around. So we paid for our truck and our RV when we sold our house. And so we were debt free. We saved up $60,000 for the first year. A lot of that went to the big ticket items of like buying the membership that we use to stay at certain parks. We spent the summer on the East Coast. Right now we're in the Florida Keys. The number one question we get is, how do we make our money and how much is it? Honestly, it depends on who you are and what you're wanting to do. For us, our biggest expense is probably fuel. It's about $125, $150 for a tank. If we go long trips, it's quite a bit of fuel. And so it depends on how often you travel and what you're doing. You can do it in a less expensive way. What we did was purchase membership to access a bunch of parks throughout the United States, or you could pay for a park every time you go there, and they range from $30 to $50, sometimes to $100 a night. A way to save money is to stay in a spot longer. That'll be less than weekly or even nightly. So the biggest cost to keep this lifestyle going, obviously maintain the RV. Because you're doing so many miles on your tires, they need to be replaced every so often. It all also depends on the age of your rig. We bought a brand new rig, so we didn't have to deal with a lot of the upkeep for a few years at least. Everyone thinks that we live on a permanent vacation. It's not. You still have to feed your kids. You still have to deal with work stuff. You still have to deal with laundry, schooling, all of that. You would think that cleaning would be easier because we have such a small space, but it's a smaller space, so it gets messier way often. You have to dump your black tanks, which is where all the sewage goes. That needs to be done once a week or so. I think the most difficult thing for all of us is probably the lack of personal space. Our daughter is almost 13 and she has her own space with a curtain, so that way she can be separate from the boys because she's older and she needs that. But our typical day is both of us being home and dealing with the kids together, going out for adventures, schooling them together. Homeschooling was probably the most difficult thing for us to figure out just because we felt like we weren't qualified. So an easy way for us was to use a program called Time for Learning. We spent our first little bit in southern Utah and Nevada, and so we went into the Red Rocks, and the kids went up on these cliffs and there was petroglyphs. So for us, that was part of the reason that we did this. It's a cool way to teach your kids. Social media isn't our main source of income. My husband owns his own business, and so he's a seasonal worker. I also have an online marketing stream of income, and then we do some social media. It was hard to adjust to that because for me, it was hard to not fall into a mindset of scarcity. That's what we're working towards, like every month, kind of a stream of income. But right now it's kind of, you save it, you use it, you save it, you use it. It really helped us see that there's things that you don't need to spend money on to have fun. You can go out in nature and the kids enjoy it just as much. I think if you're going to live this lifestyle, you have to be okay with things constantly changing. Flat tires, the kids needing to go pee every 5 seconds on a travel day. And so you just learn to take things as they come. Parenting's hard. And I know that we all look to social media and see perfection. I wanted to be the one to stand up and say, hey, like, I'm not perfect and you're still doing a good job.